All right, Tim Black's Wolfpack, we have the story of Cyntoia Brown, a heartbreaking story of a 16-year-old who was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Stay tuned for that. All right, so the young lady on the screen here is Cyntoia Brown. Cyntoia Brown was 16 in this picture. When she was born, to say she had a troubled life would be an understatement. She was born to a mother who was addicted to alcohol and drugs, and she was addicted to alcohol, suffering from a condition known as fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which affected her reasoning ability and her growth. She later, due to behavioral issues, she ran away from home from the caregiver because she's already been removed from her mother's home. She was staying with another friend of the family. She ran away from that home, and then according to her, she was forced into a life of prostitution. She's taken in by a pimp who rapes her and beats her and threatens her. The name of the pimp is Cutthroat. On the night in question, when the incident occurred, which sent her to jail, she says that Cutthroat told her she better get out there and get him some money. And she went out to do just that. She met a man by the name of Johnny Mitchell Allen. Now, this is back in 2004. Johnny Mitchell Allen was 43 years old. She's 16 in this picture, but I think she was 15 when this actually occurred. She was willing to prostitute herself to get some money from Mr. Allen. But Mr. Allen decided, instead of taking her to a hotel, he wanted to take her to his house, which he did. And according to Miss Brown, he began to show her all of the guns that he had around his home and to talk a lot about his sharpshooting skills and his ability to kill. She says that she was afraid of Mr. Allen. And in the middle of the night, he reached for something under the bed. She thought he may be reaching for a gun, and she said she shot him out of fear for her life. She, in turn, said she panicked. She grabbed money, she grabbed his car keys, and she fled. She was later apprehended, and she was also charged with murder. There was a documentary done on Miss Cyntoia Brown. Notable stars have talked about her because what happened, her sentencing was so heavy-handed. She was sentenced to 51 years in prison. Now, Ms. Brown, her contention is that she was afraid for her life. She was 16 years old. She was afraid for her life. This man had just tried to have sex with her. She was there for that purpose. But we know if you're 15 years old and there's a 43-year-old and you need to get money because you got a 30-something-year-old pimp who's going to beat the crap out of you, it's not the same. It's not the same as a person who just decides to live this type of life. By giving a 16-year-old 51 years in prison, I don't see how that betters anything. You know, I sent out a tweet about this story because it touched me to such a high degree. I mean, we got a 16-year-old who says she feared for her life. And, of course, the family of Mr. Mitchell Allen, Johnny Mitchell Allen, of course, they may feel differently. They may feel like, that's their loved one and they want justice they want justice for their friend or son or whatever relationship they have for Mr. Allen. But what I'm saying is we can't overlook the fact that we were talking about a child. We were talking about a child who, for lack of a better term, was being traded for sex by grown men. And when she said she feared for her life and she acted out, she said she did this in self-defense. Well, who makes self-defense claims and no one questions it? Grown men with guns and badges and vests and tasers and walkie-talkies where they can call more men with guns and badges and vests. Yeah, police officers make the claim of fear for their life all the time and no one questions it. They don't even get indicted, let alone sentenced. when we have a 16-year-old child who's been abused, who's being trafficked, who's being pimped out by an older man, this man who took her to his house for sex. Well, we're assuming that, some people, even the people who say, oh, well, we don't believe her story, but still, we have a situation where a grown man is picking up, hey, look at this young child. She looks like a child. She looks like a child. So he's picking up young girls, taking them back to his house to have his way with him. He's not totally, you don't see anything wrong with this picture. So my point has been, to all those people out there who have asked me, Tim, you seem to be totally in the bag for Cyntoia Brown. I'd say to you, I don't see how I can't be. It's not that I'm in the bag for Cyntoia Brown, I'm in the bag for justice. I'm in the corner of justice, and Miss Cyntoia Brown is a child. Now, if you're comfortable with underage women being taken advantage of by 40-something-year-old men for money, or if you're cool with pimps taking vulnerable children, which is what she was, and using them to fund their lifestyles and abusing them, whatever, that's on you. But as for this channel and as for what I do, I won't stand for it. I'm going to call it out every time. So Cyntoia Brown, look it up. It's a story. It's still ongoing. What can happen now is, as this enters this last phase for appeals, there's a possibility that a judge could change this and lower this sentence, because that's what's needed. And one last thing before we leave this, there's a story right at the same time of a Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Jeffrey Epstein is a admitted serial abuser. He's also a multimillionaire. There are 80 women that Jeffrey Epstein sexually assaulted in his compound. 36 of those at least were underage. Jeffrey Epstein got a sweetheart deal where all he had to do was plead to 2 cases of prostitution, and this seals the deal. This seals the deal so it can't even be brought up to federal court. He will do no Fed time. In fact, he's already served his little slap on the wrist of 13 months in a local prison. There! In a jail, not a prison, I'm sorry, a jail. Like the county jail. Like the one Otis from Andy Griffith used to lock himself up in. Like the one on the sitcoms that the kids go to when they get in trouble. That kind of jail. The fake jail.
Oh, bedroom feel good. Oh, boy. That's good.
So, Jeffrey Epstein, millionaire, abuses 80-plus women. Gets sweetheart deal, does 13 months. 15-year-old Cyntoia Brown, victim of being trafficked, of being pimped, of being abused, gets 51 years. Now, I can't make that make sense. And if you're interested in help funding this show, keeping it live and available to stream, well, become a member of my Wolf Pack. See that crazy wolf behind me over here? That's my Wolf Pack, man. Become a member of it. Do so today. You can join for as little as $2 a month. I don't even know what that's equivalent to. I don't know, stick of gum a day, cup of coffee, a month, not even a cup. Come on, guys. Join my Wolf Pack, become a member, and fund independent media.